Hello student, today I'm going to discuss the second part of the control and coordination. In the previous part, I have already discussed up to the cranium. So let us continue our discussion after that. So the main heading is how nervous tissue cause action. So information is received by nervous tissue, then it passes to the brain and then it causes the action. So first of all, the information is received by the nervous tissue. After that, that information is passed to the brain through the nerves. Inside the nerves there are neurons. Those neurons helps in passing the information and then it causes the action. Once the brain interprets that information and according to that interpretation the action happens. The junction between the two neuron is known as synapse. That means the gap between the two neuron is called synapse. Information are passed from one neuron to another neuron via electrical or chemical transmission. So how is the information passed from one neuron to the another neuron? The information is passed from one neuron to another neuron via electrical transmission or chemical transmission. And but remember one thing from this part, the gap between the two neuron is known as synapse. So the next one is, after this we are going to discuss about the coordination in plant. First of all, we have discussed about coordination in animal. Now we're going to discuss about the coordination in plants. So coordination in plants. Plants though do not have nervous tissue or muscles, but they also respond toward the stimulus. Unlike us, the plant do not have any muscles, neither they have any nervous system, but still they respond toward stimulus. For example, when we touch the Mimosa pudica, touch me not plant. I hope every one of you have seen the touch me not plant or Lajwanti plant. So what happens when we touch it? When we touch it, its leaves fold up and droop. As soon as we touch it, it responds to our touch. It responds to that stimulus. So there are two types of movement in plant dependent on growth, and next one is independent of growth. So basically plants show two kind of movement. One is growth related movement, that means the movement which is dependent on growth, and next one is the movement which is independent of growth. So when we touch the Mimosa pudica, its leaves fold up but no growth occur. So it does not involve in any growth. As an example of growth, as an example of movement which is independent of growth is the touching of the Mimosa pudica or the touch me not plant. When we touch it, it leaves fold up, it leaves droop. When the leaves droop, does the plant grow? The answer is definitely no. So it is that movement which is not related to growth. But the movement of seedling is due to growth. But the movement of seedlings, okay, it is growth related movement. So plant convey information from cell to cell through electrical chemical means. So how do plant convey the information from cell to cell, from one cell to another? It is through the electrical chemical means. So right after that, let us proceed to the plant hormones. So there are certain plant hormones. Okay, sorry, before that I have skipped the growth related movement and movement which is independent of growth. So let us discuss about those first. So first of all, it will be the growth independent movement. The movement which are not related to growth are called nastic movement. That means these are the growth which are not really, these are the movement which are not related to growth. So these movements occur in response to the environmental stimuli, but the direction of response is not independent. So these movements which are not related to growth, that means those movements which are not growth related, they are called as nastic movement. So these movements occur in response to environmental stimuli, but the direction of response is not dependent on the direction of the stimulus. So these movements occur in response to the environmental stimulus, environmental factors, but the direction of response, it is not dependent on the direction of the stimulus. That means the movement can occur on any direction. It is not dependent on the direction of the factor or the direction of the stimulus. So The movement in touch me not plant is thigmonastic movement. That means the movement in touch me not plant is thigmonastic movement. What is this thigmonastic movement? It is movement in response to touch. Then the next one comes growth related movement. In the previous slide we have read growth. In the previous slide we have already discussed about the movement which is not related to growth. In this part we are going to talk about the movement which is related to growth. The movement which are growth related are called tropic movement. So the movement which are growth related, they are called as tropic movement. This movement occur in response to environmental stimuli. This movement occur in response to environmental stimuli, and the direction of the response is dependent on the direction of the stimulus. And in this tropic movement, the direction of response, okay, the direction of movement is dependent on the direction of the stimulus. An example of it is phototropic movement, that is light dependent movement. An example of this is when you keep a plant inside a dark room and just allow the sunlight to pass through a small hole, what will you find? You just keep that plant for a month. After a month, when you open the room and when you take out the plant outside, you will find that the plant should have bent toward the direction of the light. So that is none other than your phototropic movement, that is light dependent movement, movement in response to light. The next comes geotropic movement, that is gravity dependent. For example, the growing of the root, the direction of the root, that is geotropic movement. Then chemotropic movement, that is chemical dependent. Then next comes hydrotropic movement, that is water dependent movement. Then after that we are going to proceed to the plant hormone. As in the coordination in plant, I have discussed that, or we have come to know that the coordination in plant is done through chemical means and electrical means. So let us just see. So the and we have got the term hormones also in the previous slide. So let us see what is this hormone. Hormone is a chemical. Okay, so plant hormones. So plant hormone, these are the names of the plant hormone. So first one is auxin. What is the work of the auxin? It helps in growth of plant tissue. It means auxin, it helps in the growth of plant tissue. The next comes cytokinin. What is the work of the cytokinin? It promotes cell division. It delays aging of cells. The next comes gibberellins. It helps in the growth of stem. It initiates seed germination. It promotes flowering, then cell division and seed growth after germination. Then the next one is abscisic acid. It inhibits growth and causes wilting of leaf. It means it stops growth. Not all parts of the plant grows throughout its lifetime. Not, for example, the leaves of the plant, it attains a certain size, and after attaining a certain size, the leaf starts to wilt and it falls down. So abscisic acid does that work. The abscisic acid inhibits growth and causes wilting of leaves. Then it promotes dormancy of buds and seed. Then the next one comes ethylene. This is a gaseous hormone which causes ripening of fruit. So ethylene causes ripening of fruits. Then after the plant hormone, we are going to proceed to the hormones in animals. So especially human being. So let us discuss about this endocrine glands. So what are endocrine glands? In class 8 you have already read that endocrine glands are ductless glands. So they are chemical messengers that are secreted in small quantities. So there are two types of gland, endocrine gland and exocrine gland. Endocrine glands do not have ducts to carry the secretion and they produce the hormones. So endocrine gland, so there are two types of gland. One is endocrine gland, another one is exocrine gland. Endocrine glands, since they do not have ducts, so they are also called as ductless gland and they helps in secreting hormone. So you can just see this figure. This is here the name of the human endocrine, the name of the endocrine glands. You can just see the endocrine glands, and these are the name of the endocrine glands: hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, adrenal, kidney, pancreas, ovary, uterus, and testis. TS, testis. So different glands secrete different hormones, and different hormones have different functions to perform. So let us see the list of different hormones secreted and their function. So thyroid gland. So thyroid gland, it produces thyroxine that regulates carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism, that controls the carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism in our body, thyroid gland. So next one is adrenal gland. What does the adrenal gland do? It produces adrenaline and it is secreted at the time of fear, fight or flight. So adrenal gland, it produces adrenaline. The next one is pancreas. What is the work of the pancreas? It produces insulin and it produces glucagon, which regulates glucose metabolism in our body. So basically, you might not have heard about glucagon, but you have heard of insulin. So you might have heard that some person in your locality or might be some person in your family member that taking the insulin injection. So what is this insulin? It is a hormone which is released by the pancreas. So insulin's work is to control the blood sugar, to control the sugar level in our blood. So those who are suffering from diabetes, so their production of insulin is less in their body. So what do they need to do? They need to take insulin through injections. Then next comes testis. So production testis, it produces male hormone known as testosterone, required for male secondary sexual characteristics such as beard and mustaches. In class 8 you have already read about testosterone. What is the work of the testosterone? It helps in the development of secondary sexual characteristics. So next one is pituitary gland. It secretes growth hormone and regulates the growth and development of an organism. What is the work of the pituitary gland? Pituitary gland secretes growth hormone and it regulates the growth and development of an organism. Then the next one comes ovary. What is the work of the ovary? It produces estrogen needed for the female sexual development. So whatever sexual development a female is undergoing, it is because of the production of estrogen. So remember the question from here, it might come that name the male sex hormone. So the answer should be testosterone, and name the female sex hormone, it is estrogen. You will get the same name of the hormone in the reproduction in organisms chapter. Again, you are going to get the name of these two hormones. So testosterone is a name of a male sex hormone and estrogen is the name of the female sex organ. So hormones, it should be secreted in precise quantity. We have been discussing about hormone. Now if I will go in detailed explanation of hormone, then hormone, it should be secreted in a precise quantity. Okay, so if there is excessive secretion of hormone, then what will happen? The excessive secretion of hormone, it leads to abnormality, because there are certain growth related hormones. You might find some persons who are gigantic. So being gigantic is not a normal thing. Okay, we have an average height, but some of them are, they are very huge and gigantic. Why? Because of the excessive secretion of the growth hormone. Some of them are dwarf. Why are they dwarf? Because of the less secretion of the growth hormone. So the hormone should be secreted in a limited, that means in a precise quantity. So we, for that secretion of hormone in a precise quantity, we need a mechanism through which it should be done. So the timing and amount of hormone released are regulated by the feedback mechanism. Even the timing and the amount of hormone that are to be released, these are regulated by the feedback mechanism. For example, if the sugar level in blood rise, they are detected by the cells of the pancreas. Whenever the sugar level in the blood rise, then the pancreas detects it, and as soon as the pancreas detects it, it starts to produce more insulin. What is the work of that insulin? It will control the sugar level in our blood. So as the blood sugar level falls, insulin secretion is reduced. So whatever mechanism is going inside our body, all are being performed in a coordinated manner. So that's all that I have to explain from this chapter. Thank you.